Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you bought a house in Phoenix in the last 5 years, I'm about to show you a number that might generally surprise you. Everyone's been telling you the market's crashed, the news, your neighbor, the guy on social media. So today I pulled the actual sales data straight from the MLS, the same system every agent in the Valley uses, and compared home prices 5 years ago up to right now. And what I found was not a crash. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what your home has probably done in value and whether the market crashed story is even true. But before we dive in, I want to do a quick intro. My name is Suri Adkins. I am a real estate agent here in the Phoenix Valley. Whether you already own a home or you're thinking about buying one, if you want to talk through your own situation, I'm a message away. And if you just want to check out your own numbers, I've got some home value tools and a home calculator linked in right below in this video. So let's go ahead and dive into the presentation. Before we look at the numbers, let's make sure we're on the same page about the word equity. Equity is simple. It's the difference between what your house is worth and what you still owe on it. So let's say you bought your home for $400,000. You put some money down and you got a loan for $380. Equity is just what your home is worth today minus what the $380 you owe. There are two ways your equity grows over time. Number one, every single month you make a mortgage payment. A little bit of that payment goes down to what you owe. That's called your pay down. It happens slowly, but it happens every month automatically. Number two, your home goes up in value. That's called appreciation. And that's what we're going to focus on today because that's where the Phoenix market gets really interesting. Okay, so here's what I did. I went into the MLS system and I pulled the median sales price for homes across the entire Phoenix metro area. That's every single family home and patio home sold. So I didn't do condos or townhouses. And I compared from June of 21 to June of 26. So 5 years, same month, apples to apples. And here's what I found. In June 2021, the median home sales price in Phoenix Metro was $398,000. In June of 2026, the median home sales price was $484,970. That's a jump of $86,970. In percentage terms, that's about 22% in growth over 5 years. So now let's zoom out even further. If we look at the entire year, so from January through June, the numbers look even stronger. The median price went from $398 at the start of 2021 to $484,970. So far into 2026, that's almost $87,000 in growth or 22%. Let's let that sink in for a second. If you bought a medium price home in Phoenix back in 2021 and you sold it today and you would like to walk away with somewhere in between 60,000 and 87 more than what you paid for it, and that's before we even count the money you paid down on your loan every single month for the last 5 years, that could be some real equity in your home that you're sitting on. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Sorry, that's not what it feels like out there. Everyone says the market has slowed down, and you're right, it has slowed down. But let's talk about why, because this is where a lot of the confusion happens. When we look at how many homes actually sold, that number is down a lot. In June 2021, we were about 8,397 homes sold across the valley. In June 2026, that number was around 5,576. That's roughly a third fewer sales. There are more homes sitting on the market right now, too. Sellers are listing homes, but fewer buyers are jumping to close deals as fast as they were during 2021. So here's the confusion. People saw fewer sales for sale signs turning into sold signs. They see the home sitting a little longer. They see more inventory, and their brains jump to one confusion: prices must be dropping. But that's not that's not what the data shows. Slower sales and more inventory means the market has calmed, more normal pace. It does not mean prices went backwards. In fact, prices kept climbing the entire time. It's just steadier, more sustainable pace. That's the pace that we want, not the sprint that we saw back in 2021. It's actually good. It's normalizing, which is really a good thing. So one way to think about it, we think of it as a car. A car is like this. Think of it as a car going 100 miles an hour and a car going 40 miles an hour, and both are going forward. Just one's going a lot faster than the other. Phoenix home values don't stop moving forward. They just slow down at a normal speed. So let's make this real for you. If you bought in Phoenix, or if you bought a Phoenix home anytime during the last 3 to 5 years, there's a very good chance you have a real meaningful equity sitting in your house right now, even if it doesn't feel like it because you haven't checked. Maybe you bought the house in 2021 or 22, near the top of the frenzy, and you've been a little worried you're underwater or barely breaking even based on what the data shows. That's probably not true. Home values across the valley have continued climbing since then. They're not falling. Maybe your family has grown. Maybe you're thinking about downsizing now and the kids are out of the house. Maybe you're dreaming about that horse property with a little more land and a real barn. Whether your next chapter looks like the equity you've built, but not quite closer to making it possible. Okay, I'm starting over with the next slide. If you bought a home in Phoenix anytime in the last 3 to 5 years, there's a very good chance you have a real meaningful equity sitting in your house right now, even if it doesn't feel like it because you haven't checked. Maybe you bought the house in 21 or 22 near the top of the frenzy, and you've been a little worried you're underwater or barely breaking even. Based on what this data shows, that's probably not true. Home values across the valley have continued climbing since then. They're not falling. Maybe your family has grown. Maybe you're thinking about downsizing now and the kids are out of the house. Maybe you're dreaming about that horse property with a little more land and a real barn. Whether your next chapter looks like, the equity that you've built might be closer to making that possible than you think. The only way to know the real number is to actually look at your specific home, your specific loan, and your specific numbers. Metro averages are a great starting point, but your home isn't an average, it's yours. Now, let's talk about something a lot of homeowners are quietly worrying about, and that's mortgage rates. Maybe you're locked into a mortgage rate a few years ago that are lower than what's available today. And the thought of giving up feels scary, and I totally get it. So you're just staying put, even if the house doesn't fit your lifestyle anymore. I want to gently push back on that idea that a low rate means you're stuck. Here's why. Equity is leverage. If you built up 60 to 80K or more in equity, that's real buying power you can bring to your next home. Sometimes that extra equity can offset a higher rate than people expect, especially depending on how much you're putting down on your next place. I'm not saying everyone should sell. I'm not saying your low rate doesn't matter. What I am saying is don't let fear of the unknown keep you from even asking the question. The only way to know if moving makes sense for your specific situation is to actually run your numbers. And I apologize, that is my dog. Here is the big takeaway from today. Phoenix home values have grown by roughly 14 to 22% over the last 5 years, depending on how you measure it. So if you own a home here, there's a strong chance you're sitting on more equity than what you realize. And if you've been thinking about your next chapter, whether that's downsizing, moving up, or finding a perfect piece of land, that equity might be closer within reach than what you think. Numbers on the screen are one thing. Your actual home, your actual loan, your actual equity, that's a different conversation. And that's one that I would love to have with you. If you want to know your real number, grab a spot on my calendar. The information is in the description. I'll put everything right in the link below for this video. It's a free, no pressure, 30-minute conversation or less. I'll pull your home specific numbers and walk you through exactly where you stand. And don't forget that free home evaluation tool in the calculator in the link below. If you want to poke around on your own first, that's totally fine. And one last thing, if you find this kind of straight talk, no hype market breakdown is helpful, hit subscribe. I put these out regularly, and it's the easiest way to stay on top of what's happening in the Phoenix market instead of relying on rumors and headlines. Until next time, I'm Suri Adkins, helping you start your next chapter with confidence.